They always say, "She doesn't care, just move on." But what if they're wrong? What if the silence you're hearing isn't confidence, but fear? She's not ignoring you because she's over you. She's quiet because she's waiting, watching, testing you. She needs to know one thing: are you still under her spell? Still desperate enough to chase? Still emotionally tangled in a game she secretly controls? And the moment you make just one wrong move, the moment you react, you prove her right. You confirm that she still has you. But today, that stops. If you're here right now watching this video, it means one thing: you're done being played. You're done wasting your time, energy, and peace of mind on someone who lives for your emotional reaction. And now, you're about to learn how silence, pure, calculated, intentional silence, is the most powerful response you can give. Because when you don't react, you flip the script. You force her to face a terrifying question. Wait, did I lose him? This isn't just about relationships. This is about control, about respect, about power. And it all comes down to one simple truth: how you react when someone tries to test your worth defines your true strength. So sit back, lock in, and don't blink. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand one thing crystal clear: you will never chase again. Before we go deeper, do something powerful. Drop a comment below that says, "I will never chase again." Say it for the world. Say it for you. Every single day, millions of people get caught in the same psychological loop. Someone they care about starts pulling away, acting cold, distant, distracted, and suddenly the overthinking begins. They start checking their phone every few minutes, rereading old messages, analyzing tone, dissecting silence, wondering what went wrong. And every time they do this, every time they react, they surrender their power. That's the truth about modern relationships. It's not always love. It's leverage. It's emotional power dynamics disguised as connection. The second you chase, you lower your value. The moment you show them how deeply their absence affects you, you hand them the keys to your self-worth. But the strongest people in the world, whether in business, love, or life, they never react. They observe. They analyze. And when someone tries to manipulate them with distance or games, they respond in a way that resets the entire balance. They go silent. Part 1. She expects you to react. She doesn't just disappear randomly. She does it strategically. She delays replies. She goes cold. She cancels plans. She becomes mysteriously busy. But somehow, she still watches your stories. She still posts selfies, videos out with friends, subtle hints to show you she's doing just fine without you. That's not coincidence. It's bait. She wants to trigger your weakness, to see if you'll reach out, question her, panic. Even a simple, "Why are you being distant?" That's a win for her, because that means you still care. Remember, just one emotional slip, one tiny message asking, "What's wrong?" and she wins. Because that one reaction tells her everything she needs to know. The moment you react, she knows she's still in control. She knows she hasn't lost you. And that knowledge, it empowers her to keep playing the game. Now she has a reason to push the limits. To test how much you'll endure, how far you'll let her pull away before you snap. And here's the harsh truth: most men do snap. They spiral. They check their phones obsessively. They wait and wait for a text that never comes. They rewind every conversation, replay every sentence, every emoji, wondering, "What did I do wrong?" They panic. They fear that if they don't do something now, she'll vanish forever. So they reach out first. They double text. They ask if she's okay. They apologize for things they didn't even do. But here's the twist. She doesn't respect that. She expects it. And when she gets it, She's not impressed, she's bored, because a woman only plays these games with a man she hasn't fully chosen yet. A man she's still unsure about, a man she doesn't quite respect. She wants to know, do you need her validation to feel like a man? And the second you show her that you do, it's over. Now she's not just pulling away, she's running, because you just showed her, loud and clear, that her attention is your oxygen. Without it, you fall apart. And one thing women do not chase are men who fall apart. They chase men who stay calm. Men who don't flinch. Men who make her wonder, does he even care if I stay or go? She might think she's got you all figured out. She might expect the same old script. You panic. You beg. You prove your worth. But when that doesn't happen, when you don't react, when you go silent, that's when everything changes. Because silence creates doubt. And doubt is the crack in her control. Doubt is what makes her second-guess everything she thought she knew about you. Did I misread him? Is he really moving on? Wait, did I just lose a man who was actually worth keeping? That feeling, doubt, is what starts pulling her back. But here's the twist most men never understand. By the time she realizes this, it's too late. Because the man she was testing, he's gone. The version of you that would have chased, that would have broken down from silence, that man no longer exists. You've transformed. You've become the one thing she can't control, and that terrifies her. Part 2. Your silence breaks her control. Here's why silence is terrifying. It forces people to sit with themselves. It strips away the noise. It kills distraction. And most people can't handle that. That's why social media is addictive. That's why people constantly surround themselves with noise, people, messages. Because silence exposes what they're running from. So when you go silent, you force her to face herself. Her fears, her doubts, her insecurities. She thought you'd chase. She expected the emotional validation. But now, you're not playing the game. You're not feeding the drama. You're gone. And that silence, it speaks louder than any words ever could. In the last moment you went silent. And your silence, it shattered her control. Now the tables have turned. She was expecting you to chase, to validate her, to keep proving that you're still there, still hooked, still hoping. But instead, now she's the one checking her phone more than you. She's the one refreshing the screen, looking for a sign, any sign, that you still care. She scrolls back through your old messages, replaying your last conversation in her head, trying to pinpoint the exact moment she lost her grip on you. She might act unbothered. She might post pictures with other guys. Go out more, smile wide, dress up. She'll craft the perfect illusion that she's living her best life without you. But deep down, she's waiting. Waiting to see if it worked. Waiting to see if she still has that invisible string tied to your emotions. Waiting for that one notification from you to prove she still matters. But when that message never comes, when your silence remains unbroken, that's when it hits her. That panic. The same panic you used to feel when she went quiet. The same anxiety that kept you checking your phone every few minutes. Now it's hers to carry. And just like you once questioned if she was losing interest, now she's wondering, did I lose him? That fear, that haunting uncertainty, that's what pulls her back. But here's where most men fall into the trap. She sends a message. Something simple, something casual, a test. She won't say, I miss you. She won't apologize. She won't admit she was wrong. Instead, she'll play it safe. Something vague, something like, hey, hope you're doing good. How have you been? And this is the moment most men fail. They see the message and light up. Heart racing, thinking, this is it. She realized she messed up. They reply instantly. They try to revive the old connection. They open the door wide, thinking they've won her back. But the moment she sees that fast reply, she knows she still has you. You're still there. Still waiting, still hoping, and just like that, she disappears again. Because the truth is, she wasn't coming back for you. She came back for herself, for her ego. She just needed to know she still had access, that she could still flip your emotions with one casual message. Once she gets that confirmation, she doesn't need to keep talking. That's why the most powerful response is no response at all. Because if she truly wants you back, she'll put in the work. She'll make it known, loud and clear, that she regrets losing you, not through a lazy, half-hearted, hope you're good text, but with effort, clarity, honesty. Until then, stay silent, because silence creates doubt. And doubt is what turns curiosity into pursuit. It's what makes her chase. But here's the best part. By the time she's ready to chase, you're already gone, because now you no longer need her validation. You've built a life without her. A life that doesn't orbit around her attention. And that's true freedom. By the time she sends that text, trying to test if you're still there, you've already evolved. You've built your life. You've built yourself. You're no longer the man who needed her approval to feel whole. You've built a stronger mindset. You've cultivated self-worth. You now carry a level of confidence that doesn't rely on her presence, her attention, or her validation. And by the time she realizes what she let go of, by the time she's finally ready to do the things she never did when she had you, it's too late. Because now she's the one chasing a ghost. Part 3. She will start to doubt herself. She thought she had forever. She believed deep down that you'd always be there. Waiting, lingering, hovering just at the edge of her world, ready to jump the second she snapped her fingers. She convinced herself, no matter what she did, no matter how long she ignored you, no matter how many emotional games she played, you'd still be there. But now, silence. And not the kind of silence that's temporary, not the silence that begs for attention, but the kind that feels permanent, solid, unshakable. And that silence, it echoes louder than any words. Something begins to shift inside her. At first, it's just a flicker, an uneasy thought. Why hasn't he texted me? Then that flicker grows. Has he moved on? Tension builds. Curiosity becomes anxiety, and anxiety becomes a deep gnawing fear. Was I wrong about him? That fear starts to erode her confidence, because now, for the first time, she's facing the one thing she never expected, the possibility that she lost you. Nothing shakes a woman more than realizing she might have let go of something valuable, something rare. You see, in her mind, men are supposed to be predictable. Pull away and he'll chase. Act cold and he'll fight harder. Test him and he'll bend. That's what she thought. That's what she expected. But instead, you stayed quiet. You removed your presence. You became unknown. And the unknown? That's the most powerful force in the world. When something becomes uncertain, the mind becomes obsessed. It's why people keep checking their phones while waiting for a reply. Why movie cliffhangers drive audiences mad. Why the chase is addictive. The mind can't handle unanswered questions. And now, she's the one with the questions. She starts checking your social media, not once, but obsessively. She wants to know, is he okay? Is there someone new? Does he even care anymore? She notices your new posts. She sees new pictures, new energy, new confidence. She might not like your photos, she might not comment, but she's watching. And the longer you remain silent, the deeper her doubt cuts. It chips away at the certainty she once had. It rattles the belief that you'd always be waiting. She goes to her friends, the same ones who told her, "Don't worry, he'll come back." They always do. The same ones who laughed and said, "He's so into you, you've got nothing to worry about." But now, even they are quiet, because now you've become the mystery. She used to be surrounded by confidence, backed by her friends, and reassured by the idea that you'd always come back. Just another guy who couldn't resist her gravity. But now, even her friends are starting to doubt that story, because the longer you remain silent, the more undeniable it becomes. You don't need her anymore. And that fact, that truth cuts deep. Now the power has shifted. Now she's the one unsure. Now she's spiraling, because nothing sends a woman into emotional chaos faster than self-doubt. She starts replaying everything. Every word, every text, every last look the two of you shared. Suddenly it all starts to feel different. Not because anything has changed, but because you have changed. She rewinds the last message she sent. She replays the last time she saw you, the last conversation you had. Every detail is now under the microscope of her mind. And the more she thinks about it, the more she begins to see something she never wanted to admit. She took you for granted. She assumed she had you locked in, that no matter how far she pushed, no matter how long she disappeared, you'd always be there when she decided to return. She thought you were like every other man before you, desperate, predictable, craving her validation. But now, she isn't so sure anymore, and that doubt, it doesn't stay locked in her head, it starts to leak into her actions. She tests the waters. Not with honesty, not with vulnerability, but with breadcrumbs. She won't say, "I miss you," her pride won't allow that, but she'll start throwing out small signals, hoping for confirmation, a like on an old picture. A casual, "Hey," a random comment, maybe even a wrong text that accidentally gets sent your way, all designed to trigger a reaction, a sign that you're still emotionally available, that you're still within reach, and the weak man, he bites. He sees the tiny breadcrumb and pounces, thinking, "This is it, she wants me back." He rushes in, opens the conversation, gives her a glimpse of hope. But the moment he does, she vanishes. Again, why? Because now she has her answer. She didn't actually want to come back. She just needed to prove to herself that she still could. That you were still an option, still watching, still hoping. And once that's confirmed, she disappears again, because it was never really about you. It was always about control. So what do you do while she's playing mind games, while she's testing, doubting, wondering? You stay silent. Because silence is what keeps her guessing, and guesswork is what makes her chase. But even more powerful than that, questioning sets you free. Because while she's caught up in her own internal chaos, trying to figure out if she made the wrong call, trying to decode your silence, trying to calculate her next move, you're building. You're not waiting around. You're not sitting in the shadows hoping she comes to her senses. You've turned inward. You've been hitting the gym, sharpening your mind, leveling up in every area of your life. While she was battling uncertainty, you were becoming unstoppable. You've grown into a man who no longer needs validation, who no longer bases his worth on whether or not she finally gets it. You've become a version of yourself she's never even met before. And by the time she finally builds up the courage to admit she was wrong, by the time she reaches out, ready to speak the truth, it's too late. Because now you've already moved on, and that's the regret that stings the most. Not just losing you, but losing the evolved, confident, untouchable version of you that she never got to experience. Part 4, when she tries to pull you back. But let's be clear, she doesn't like this. She doesn't like the feeling of losing control. She doesn't like the sting of realizing she miscalculated. She hates the thought that she let something valuable slip away, because in her mind she was always in control. She believed she could pull away, create distance, and you would be the one running back, trying to fix things, trying to win her attention. That was the game plan, but something unexpected happened. You disappeared. You didn't beg, you didn't chase, you didn't try to prove your worth. You went quiet, gone, absent from her world. And that shook her, because for the first time she felt uncertainty, and that's the one thing she cannot tolerate. Uncertainty means she doesn't know where she stands with you. It means her grip on your emotions has slipped. It means she might have actually lost you. And that was never part of her plan. She thought she had more time. She thought she could test you longer. Keep you nearby, not too close, not too far, just close enough to feel wanted, just distant enough to feel in control. But now she's starting to feel it. The weight of her decisions, the weight of your silence, the absence of your attention, once so freely given. And what happens when people lose something they thought they could always come back to? They panic. But here's the thing, she's not going to admit that. She won't call you and say, "I messed up." She won't write some long, vulnerable message pouring her heart out. She won't tell you she regrets walking away. Not yet. Because her pride still stands in the way. She won't admit she was wrong. Not yet. Because to do that would mean surrendering power. And surrendering power means admitting she lost. So instead of apologizing for the way she treated you, instead of owning her choices, she shifts gears. She starts to test you. Because in her mind, there's still one thing she needs to know. Do you still care? That's when the first test shows up. It won't be loud. It won't be obvious. But it's there. Maybe she watches your Instagram story again after weeks of silence. Maybe she likes an old photo from months ago. Maybe she sends a harmless, casual text, something vague, something emotionally safe. "Hey, just saw something that reminded me of you. Hope you're doing well." It's not a confession. It's not closure. It's not vulnerability. It's a trap. She wants to see what you'll do. She wants to measure your emotional temperature. Will you respond quickly? Will your heart still leap when her name pops up? Will you still give her the emotional access she once had? And the weak man? He takes the bait. His heart races. He replies instantly. He thinks, this is it. She's coming back. But the moment she sees that quick reply, she knows she never actually lost him. He's still there, still waiting, still hooked. And just like that, she disappears. Again, because it was never about missing him. It was about checking one thing. Do I still have power over him? But what happens when you don't react? What happens when you leave her message unread? When you don't reply? When you don't engage? That's when the real panic sets in, because now she has no confirmation. Now she has no grip on your thoughts. Now the silence is hers to suffer. So what does she do? She escalates. She sends another message, this time a little longer. She brings up a memory she knows will trigger emotion. She posts a photo or a quote designed to spark curiosity, jealousy, or nostalgia. Maybe she flirts with another guy publicly. Maybe she goes out of her way to accidentally be seen with someone else. All of it just to get a reaction out of you, because a reaction it'll control. A reaction, she still matters. A reaction, she still owns space in your heart. But here's where you win. You don't react. You don't reply. You don't play. You don't even blink. Because now you know the game. You know this isn't about love. This isn't about healing. This isn't about making things right. This is about her pride, her ego, her need for validation. And that's something you'll never give her again. Because the moment you stop being her emotional safety net, the moment you stop giving her that guaranteed comfort, is the moment she feels your absence for real. Now, she's faced with the choice. Does she finally fight for you, or does she accept that you're gone? And here comes the harsh truth. If she was never truly invested in you from the beginning, she won't fight. Because it was never about connection, it was about control. In the end, it all comes down to this. If she never saw real value in you, if she was never truly invested, then she'll walk away, and she'll never come back. Because you were never actually hers. She just liked the idea of knowing she could have you, if she wanted. She liked the power, not the person. But if she truly regrets losing you, if she finally realizes she made a mistake, if she comes to terms with the fact that she let a valuable man slip away, she won't play games, she won't drop breadcrumbs. She won't send vague messages or post cryptic quotes hoping you'll notice. No, she will show up. She will be clear, she will be honest, she will say the words she couldn't say before. She will fight for your attention, for your time, for your heart, the same way you once fought for hers. And when that moment comes, you have the power. You decide if she's worth letting back in. You decide if she's earned a second chance. You decide if you even want her in your life anymore. Because by the time she reaches that point, by the time she is desperate enough to finally prove herself to you, you've already moved on. And that is the ultimate lesson. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you pull back your energy, the moment you refuse to play by her emotional rules, you become the man she was searching for all along. But by the time she realizes it, you're already gone. That's what real power looks like. That's what unshakable self-respect is made of, and that's exactly why she will never, ever forget you. Part 5. Mastering emotional detachment. Everything changes the moment you learn to detach. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop begging for her approval, the moment you stop trying to convince her of your worth, that's the moment you become free. True detachment is the highest form of strength. It's what separates men who live on their own terms from men who live at the mercy of others' emotions. It's the mindset shift that flips everything, from being a man who is controlled by the world to becoming a man who controls how the world reacts to him. Because if you don't master this, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's attention. You'll always be that guy sitting next to your phone, checking if she replied. You'll always be that man feeling sick to your stomach the moment she pulls back. She'll be out living her life completely unbothered, but you're stuck. You're the one overthinking, you're the one obsessing, you're the one suffering. Why? Because somewhere along the line you were convinced that the only way to prove your worth was to win her back. But here's the brutal truth. Once you master emotional detachment, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop needing, you stop proving. And most importantly, you stop waiting. Because here's the truth. You don't need to get her back. You don't need to convince her of anything. You don't need to win her over. You don't need to prove your worth. What you need is to let her go. Because the moment you release her from your emotional grip, the moment you truly let go of needing her love, her approval, her attention, that's the moment you take back every ounce of power you once lost. Women don't chase men who are emotionally weak. They don't chase men who are needy. They don't chase men who constantly seek their validation. They chase strength. They chase certainty. They chase the man who stands firm, whether she stays or goes. Because the second you no longer need her, you become rare. You become valuable. You become a challenge. You become the man she regrets losing. Not the man she easily walked away from. Not the man who begged for another chance. Not the man who kept sending texts, hoping for a reply, but the man who walked away and never looked back. That's the man she will think about when she's alone at night. That's the man she will compare every future guy to. That's the man she will whisper "what if" about for the rest of her life. But by the time she reaches that realization, you're already gone. And that right there is the core of emotional detachment. Not to play games, not to manipulate, but to prove something to yourself, that you don't need her or anyone to validate your worth. Because most men live their lives seeking external approval. They wait for someone to say, "You're enough. You matter. You're valuable." But what happens when you stop needing that? What happens when you stop looking outward and start looking inward? What happens when you look in the mirror and know, without a doubt, that you are already enough? That's when everything shifts. That's when people respect you differently. That's when your presence speaks louder than words. That's when you stop being just an option and start being the standard. Because here's the paradox. The man who doesn't seek attention gets the most attention. The man who doesn't beg for validation becomes magnetic. The man who controls his emotions controls every room he walks into. And the best part, once you master emotional detachment, it's no longer about her. It becomes about everything. Every relationship, every friendship, every business deal, every negotiation, every moment of your life. Because once people realize that, they can't shake you, they can't bait you, they can't control you emotionally. They start treating you with a different level of respect. They approach you with caution, with reverence, with the understanding that you're not easily moved because you're already grounded. Once you stop chasing approval, everything shifts. People stop seeing you as just another option, and they start seeing you as someone to be valued. They begin to realize you're not like everyone else. You're not desperate, you're not chasing, you're not playing games. And that makes you dangerously rare. Because in today's world, most people are weak, most people are addicted to attention, most people are chasing someone who doesn't even notice them. Most people are begging to be seen, heard, loved, validated, but not you, because you've mastered something they haven't: emotional detachment. And that makes you untouchable. This isn't just about relationships. This isn't just about dating. This is about power. The power to walk away without looking back. The power to regulate your own emotions without external permission. The power to live life on your terms, without anyone's validation. Most men will never taste that kind of freedom. They'll stay trapped in the loop, always seeking approval. Always being pulled by emotion, always reacting instead of leading. But the moment you choose to let go, the moment you decide to stop living by her rules, the moment you understand that you are already enough, that's when everything changes. That's when you become the man you were always meant to be. And the best part, by the time she finally sees your worth, by the time she realizes what she lost, by the time she's ready to come back, you won't even care. Because the real victory was never in getting her attention. The real victory was in becoming the man who no longer needed it. So if you're ready to become truly untouchable, if you're ready to step into your power, to live with clarity, confidence, and complete emotional freedom, subscribe, support this channel, share this message. Because every time you do, you help millions of men break free from the mindset that keeps them weak, reactive, and chasing approval. And before you leave this video, I want every single one of you watching to drop a comment below. I am untouchable. Type it. Own it. Claim it. Because from this moment forward, that's exactly who you are.